Hello, my name is Amit. In this video, I will walk you through my full stack CRUD project called User Profile Manager. It built using Spring Boot for the backend, MySQL for the database, and a simple HTML JavaScript for the frontend. And I begin by creating a Spring Boot project. Okay, uh, firstly I initialize my project using Spring Initializer, uh, and I have a maven. This is a maven project, and the language is Java, and the Spring Boot version is 3.5.3, and the group name I have given this the backend, and the artifact is Spring Spring Boot API, and the description is this is a full stack Java project. Okay, and I have used a dependency in this project. The name is Spring Web. The name is Spring Web. Spring Web. It is used for the building RESTful APIs and the Spring Data JPA. This is used for the simplified database integration, and the MySQL driver. SQL driver is used for the connecting to a MySQL database, and the last dependencies validation used for the input validation on the backend. And then I open my project. In the firstly I extract this project in my another. Okay, then I extract this and open this. I open the project in IntelliJ. And okay, and then I defined my user entity in this database. uh, Firstly I define a entity package. This is uh, firstly I create my structure of this project. mm, I have an entity package and a repository package. So, repository package, and there this package and last is the controller package. mm, in this in the entity package I defined a class name is user user entity representing a user in a system that has the following fields. Mm, this is an entity and I will give a name, uh, table table name is user users. Okay, and now we move. I have defined an ID primary key as a primary key, and this is automatic generate जनरेटिव वैल्यू स्ट्रेटजी मेरी रहेगी जनरेट टू टाइप आइडेंटिटी. Okay, and I give private and ID, and I I will give also a name. This is not blank, and message I will give name is required required, private string name. Okay, and I your email message invalid image format. Private string type is string, and email, and another field is name is phone. I will give a message pattern is pattern regular expression मेरा हो digit should be exactly 10, and the message phone number must be 10. Okay, I will give private string phone. Okay, and I will give a dob. This field has not any type of requirement, so I will go simply local date, type local date dob. Okay, and the next field is role role should be I will create a enum rule and I go to enumerate this role enumerated and type string. Okay, and now I created get answer let the all fields click on the OK. I get all data ancestors of all these fields, and now I will move the enum rule. The role is admin. Admin developer and tester. These are the role, and I have successfully created my entity and the role. Now I will move the repository. I name is user repository. This is an interface extended from the JPA repository. Okay, and user repository, user entity, and the type is integer. Okay, now I will move the service layer and create a class name is user service. User service. Okay. This is a service. So I the service and I import auto wired and private user repository user repository. Okay, and I create a list public where the all user type a user entity get all users and return user repository. User repository dot find all. Okay. I correct this and uh, and I make a service create user public user repository entity entity create user name user entity user and return user repository dot save user. Okay, and I I will create a update user service public user entity update user. This is provide ID and user entity. First I find the user by the ID user entity dot user entity present is equal to user repository dot find by ID and by ID provide dot or else do exception handling. So else through resolution resource not found exception user not found with ID Okay, I will create this later. Okay, find by id, and this is new resources. Okay, okay, mm, I will handle the error and the loss from the video. Okay, and mm, present dot set name user dot get name present dot set name user get mail, and present dot set phone number user dot set phone number, and present dot set dob user dot get dob, set dob, and present dot set role user dash set role get role get role, and present the set phone user the get phone set phone, and okay, if these are existing, then I will return user repository dot save present. Okay, now I will create the exception. Source not found. Okay, easy. Extended form, extended runtime exception. Okay, public resource not found exception. Okay, string message 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 per class. Okay. And now I will use here or else error the new resource not found exception. Resource not found exception. Message is not found with ID cake, and then I implement the delete user functionality, public void delete user input as a id आएगी, and firstly we find the user using this id user repository dot find by id find by id and or resource not found, user not present, user not present with id. Okay, and then user user repository let's delete user. It's, it must delete the user present in the database. And now I will create get user by id entity, user and user entity. I will implement a get user by id 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 return user repository dot find by id or through the error through the error resource not found, user not found with id. Okay, data type. Now I have completed successfully my user service. Okay, and now I will move the controller. Controller implements I a user controller class. So this is my controller. So I will firstly do the REST controller and at the request mapping should be API slash API slash users. Okay, and origin cross origin should be allow for any origin, and I go for the auto wire and import our user services. The service from user services name, and I create a route at the rate get mapping okay, public list user type user entity get all users return user service start get all users and a post route for the post mapping, and it should be public user entity add user a valid and request body user entity name is user return user service dot create user. Following this mapping, I should save the user in the database to this mapping, and I do another mapping name is put for updating the user data. Put mapping tag should be ID public user entity, user entity, update user, path variable, int id, comma, valid body, valid request body, user entity, name is user. Okay, update user, then user service dot update user id, comma, user. Okay, and now we'll make another route name controller. This controller get the user by the id, so get mapping, and it should give me public user entity, get user, get user by id, path variable id, user service dot return user service dot get user by id, pass id. Okay, I now will I make the delete controller. Hmm, delete mapping, public string, public string, delete user, path variable, path variable, and int id, int id, user service dot delete user id, and return deleted id. Okay, now overall my project is created now. I include a resource dependency in this project. MySQL at dialect. Okay, now server. I will go for server configuration. SERVS server start port equal to 0 and course testing MVC path match path match start matching and step equal to and path. Now I have done my application properties and I go to run this go the run the application. Now I will go to create MySQL versions. Backend database. The name should be mentioned with this user profile. Now I go to the menu of this now go to our project and restart again. And run again the project. You can see the my Spring server is Spring server is run on the port number 8080. How you can check? Simply go and type local, and here you can see the server is running on the port 8080. And now we add the user with the postman. Here is my endpoint of the server, and the material is the post, and the JSON format is this. I am posting. I am at the user. This is add successfully, and now um, now you get all users. You see the all users get a success, and I update the name. If okay, ID is 20, yeah, ID is 24, the name is 50, which is applicable ID. Now until this. Now our project is completed, and I will move for the front end.